The tension inside the Motogp paddock has reached boiling point. Whispers of contracts, late-night meetings, and dramatic manufacturer switches are echoing from one motorhome to another. And at the center of it all stands Fabio Quartararo. Is the 2021 world champion preparing to walk away from Yamaha? Has a seismic move already been decided behind closed doors? And why does Quartararo sound so calm in the middle of what looks like a full-blown crisis? Ahead of the season opener in Thailand, Quartararo delivered a statement that has only intensified the speculation. His decision about the future is already clear. Yet in the same breath, he shut the door firmly on any further explanation. For a rider usually measured but open, that silence speaks volumes. Quartararo refused to elaborate on where he will race when the new 850 cubic centimeters era begins, amid strong rumours linking him with Honda. What he did confirm, however, is that mentally he feels settled. The decision is clear, he admitted, before adding that nothing more would come out of his mouth regarding his future at this stage. For a rider battling technical frustration, that clarity is crucial. In high-performance sport, uncertainty can destroy confidence. Quartararo, at least internally, appears to have removed that burden. The problem is that the technical situation at Yamaha is far from resolved. The bigger concern, and the one truly unsettling the paddock, is the state of Yamaha's new V4 engine project. When Quartararo first tested the bike in Barcelona last September, expectations were realistic. It was a brand new concept, a radical shift away from Yamaha's long-standing inline-4 philosophy. Teething problems were inevitable. But what alarms the Frenchman is not that it felt raw in September, it's that it feels almost the same now. In September, when we tried the bike in Barcelona, it didn't feel very good. That was normal because the project was new, he explained, but now it feels very similar compared to September. For a factory investing heavily in a structural engine philosophy change, similarity after months of development is not what you want to hear from your lead rider. Despite headline lap times in Buriram being almost identical between the 2025 and 2026 tests, the reality underneath is more concerning. Quartararo estimates that over race distance, the V4 package is still losing 7 to 8 tenths per lap compared to the previous inline-4 M1 in race trim. That is an enormous deficit in modern MotoGP terms. Even more troubling, he believes Yamaha are starting this season in a weaker position than they did last year, with the older concept. That admission alone underlines the scale of the challenge. Switching engine architecture is never simply about peak power. It affects chassis balance, electronics calibration, tyre behaviour, and most importantly, rider confidence on corner entry. Traditionally Yamaha's strongest weapon. Here is where the story becomes fascinating. Quartararo's statement that his decision is clear may not just be about contracts, it may be about psychological survival. When a rider feels the technical direction is uncertain, clarity elsewhere becomes essential. If he has already decided whether to stay and fight through the rebuild or to join another manufacturer for the 850 cubic centimeters reset, then he can focus entirely on extracting performance in the present. From a professional standpoint, this is classic elite athlete compartmentalization. Solve the future privately, race the present publicly. The timing of these rumours is no coincidence. The upcoming 850 cubic centimeters regulation shift represents a rare opportunity for competitive reset in MotoGP. Manufacturers starting from scratch may close gaps that currently look insurmountable. If Quartararo believes Yamaha's V4 trajectory lacks urgency, the attraction of joining a rival preparing aggressively for the new era becomes understandable. However, his refusal to speak further suggests either contractual sensitivity or strategic pressure. By remaining silent, he keeps leverage. As the paddock descends on Thailand for the season opener, performance will speak louder than any rumour. If the V4 proves competitive over race distance, tension could ease quickly. But if the 7 to 8 tenths deficit materializes under the Buriram heat, the narrative of crisis will only intensify. For Yamaha, this is more than a race weekend. It is a public evaluation of months of engineering decisions. For Quartararo, it is the beginning of a season where every result will be interpreted through the lens of his clear decision. What makes this situation even more volatile is the growing sense that Yamaha's internal direction is being quietly questioned within the paddock. Engineers have invested enormous resources into the V4 transition, yet rival factories appear to have made sharper aerodynamic and electronics gains over the winter. In modern Motogp, development speed is everything, and perception of stagnation can be as damaging as actual underperformance. For Quartararo, the frustration is not simply about outright lap time. It is about feeling the difference between potential and reality. Riders at his level operate on instinct. They can sense when a project is building momentum and when it is merely circulating in place. His comments suggest the latter. A bike that has evolved incrementally rather than decisively. There is also the stylistic adjustment. Yamaha's historic strength with the inline-4 engine lay in fluid corner speed and stability on entry. Moving to a V4 inevitably alters power delivery, rear grip behavior, and braking dynamics. That transition demands not only technical refinement, but a rider willing to recalibrate years of muscle memory. Quartararo is capable of adaptation. But adaptation without progress is exhausting. Another layer to the tension is comparison. Other manufacturers have not stood still. Ducati's benchmark remains formidable, KTM continue to push aggressively, and even Honda appear to be laying foundations for a stronger 850 cubic centimetre campaign. In that context, Yamaha's development curve is being judged not in isolation, but relative to a fiercely competitive field. What we are witnessing may well be a pivotal chapter in Quartararo's career. At 26, he is entering what many consider a rider's technical prime. Experienced enough to lead development, young enough to build a new era around him. Remaining trapped in a rebuilding cycle carries long-term risk to his championship ambitions. From Yamaha's perspective, retaining a world champion is not just about results. It is about credibility. Losing Quartararo would signal more than a rider transfer. It would raise serious questions about the project's attractiveness to elite talent. Factories in transition cannot afford to appear directionless.